What's up, everybody? Welcome to a staggering review of Avengers Endgame. Joined by a couple of co-hosts, JD and Jamie. We've also got a very special guest today. We've got Ernie from Blurred Without Fear. You can catch all of his awesome content on youtube.com/blurred without fear. Lots of amazing content, reviews, breakdowns of Marvel, DC comics, movies. Go check his stuff out. Going to be really, really cool. So today we're going to do a staggering review of Avengers Endgame, going through the entire action-packed, story-packed, Easter egg-packed movie. Going to break it down scene by scene and go through just every bit of it and have some really cool discussion here. If you're on the Twitch stream, thank you for joining. Be sure to drop some comments if you have any commentary. Ask your questions. We'll definitely take those live and present it to the panel here. So, guys, ready to get started?
Yes. I am ready.
Cool. So let's kick it off. Opening scene. We got the nice, beautiful family shot. Hawkeye with the family. Next thing we know, everybody gets snapped, right? Hawkeye's walking around, screaming for the kids, and we go to Avengers and going and finding Thanos, locating him, chopping off his head by pre-Thor bod Thor, and that whole scene. So, give me the breakdown. How do you feel like the movie opened? Did it set a strong stage for the story to come?
All right, I want real quick before we go deep into the actual scene. So this is one of them scenes that gets super, it's really quiet. It's very polite and it's very oh, I'm with my family, everything's cool. And then it's about 30 seconds in, dead silence. Pin drop dead silence. Now this is the start of a movie. So at the very beginning of a movie, what's the crowd like? They're pretty chill, right? Mm-hmm. They're waiting like, oh, the movie's coming. So how do you think it's going to sound when that pin drop silence hits? you got this guy. You got this guy. Oh, yes, I was losing my fucking mind at that part. I mean, it's a deep scene, but yeah, the theater atmosphere. I think one dude was laughing.
Yeah,
in the back. You were there. One dude was laughing in the back after it happened.
I mean, I thought it was a fantastic opening because you got a little bit of that same vibe at the end in the post credits of Ant-Man and the Wasp, where Scott is in the quantum realm, and then he's like, "All right, pull me out," and then just ashes. So that scene when it cut back and it was just dead. I got chills right now. It gave me chills. But yeah, to his point, it was a little bit diluted by the audience, and there's really not a lot I can do about that.
Too early. It's just too early for something like that.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that for me, when it happened, like when they opened with Hawkeye and his family, the first thing I thought was like, this ain't going well. This is not going well at all. I was like, I was like, oh, he's playing with his kids, or he's teaching, his daughter how to, shoot the bow, and oh man, they're talking about, oh, we're gonna put who puts mayonnaise on a hot dog or some mess like that. And it's like
it's too sweet.
Yeah, it's like like I was like, oh, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. Like I kind of expected. It is a kind of an awkward opening, but it did kind of set the tone for what we're going to go into. But it is one of those things. I think that you're gonna have that's a tough thing to pull off. You can't just. No one can just do that,
right?
And pull it off perfectly. So it's not perfectly executed, but it did succeed.
What it tried to set out to do.
And I think that tone setting, right, really sank in the next part where we get to the time jump, right? 5 years later, which was for me an unexpected time jump, especially that far into the future. And as we got to that 5-year mark, really just doom and gloom. Right, society looks almost post-apocalyptic. The camera view over the stadium just looking empty, and we see Cap in sort of a PTSD or trauma meeting with Thanos survivors, right? And there's the whole conversation about somebody trying to have a date, trying to move on, and just the mental toughness that it takes to be able to do that 5 years later. For me, that was surprising that society was still that bad off 5 years later. And of course, we fast forward a little bit more into the movie. Scott resurfaces. Scott Lang, Ant-Man resurfaces, pops out of the van. It doesn't quite realize that a time jump has happened yet.
Him, by the way.
Yeah, Master Splinter coming in.
Cross realms.
And he starts to realize, something major has obviously happened and changed. Finds his daughter. He eventually meets up with Cap and Nat. Then they go and talk with Stark about a time heist.
Which I love that term.
Yeah, amazing term.
Perfect.
Big pivotal moment, right? So let's start there. What do you guys think about that 5-year time jump, and then the introduction of a time travel plot point in the story?
I kind of expected them to do a time travel thing, because the more I found myself thinking about it, it's like, I mean, how else? It's done. There has to be some essence of. I didn't know if it was going to be somehow they got the time stone back, or the more obvious thing, and obviously what happened with the quantum realm. I thought that the jump forward, I didn't expect it to be that far of a jump. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but it did, again, to your point, it set the tone. Everything's life just went on.
Depressing.
Yeah.
I also want to point out too, this is something I think only maybe me and 10 other nerds will care about. In the I guess the PTSD group, the meeting that they're having, he doesn't speak, but you do get a cameo of Thanos' creator, Jim Starlin.
Really?
Yep. He is the gentleman. He is the rather thin-looking gentleman, bald head, kind of mustache and goatee, kind of, I guess, almost gingerish looking mustache and goatee. Really, I mean, he's just really innocuous, just there. And of course, the man giving the speech is one of the directors, one of the Russo brothers, talking about his post snapping experience.
Snapping.
But no, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. The jump, everything, how they went from really doing what I think a lot of people didn't expect. Go in, piece Thanos up real quick, just put the hurt on him, and then it's like, oh wait, it was this easy.
Right.
Why didn't we do this before?
Right.
Why, if we were actually united, we could have done this before. Now it's like, well, we've done it, but it's too late.
They just came in and kicked out. They didn't have Captain Marvel.
They didn't have Captain Marvel, which, to be fair, it helped. Having Captain Marvel helped.
That, and I guess him having half his face charred off by destroying the Infinity Stones,
looking like I guess, what was it, like a burnt Shrek?
Yeah, I mean, he was just out there living his best life.
Or more like a burnt
or whatever he was picking.
Yeah, it was like some weird space potatoes.
Yeah.
Space taters.
Potatoes.
And of course, right around this time, right, we also get Hulk and Rocket who go out to find Thor, who's watching the crew play a game of Fortnite with the new Thor bod, looking great, kind of fit, kind of fat, kind of drunk. It's the ideal state of man, I think. I mean, how'd you guys, I think this was kind of polarizing, at least from what I saw online, of sort of Thor's character in general and kind of the representation that he gave, this godly figure really being humbled down, we'll say. What did you guys think of Thor's introduction in the film?
I mean, they stuck with the Ragnarok theme.
Yeah.
And I loved Ragnarok.
Goofy Thor.
Yeah. Because first Thor, I enjoyed the movie, but it was so serious. It was and he was, this is my right and my bloodline and look at my abs, which you still get that. Well, not in this, but in the Ragnarok. But yeah, I enjoyed the less serious kind of take on Thor, because it's easy to have somebody like the Hulk as the comic relief. Or something like that, but you really don't expect it to be Fat Thor.
The Lebowski, man.
the Thor-bowski
references.
Was it somebody posted? Because you had everyone was doing in-game spoilers without context, and one of my favorite ones, it's like a shot from regular show, and it's Mordecai with like where he's got like the hobo look going on. It was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. It's everything I ever wanted. No, Thor, and the thing is, I think if you don't read the comics, I think people don't realize there actually is precedent for Thor, not necessarily being in the bodily shape that he's in, but being in the mindset.
Just depressed.
Being depressed, being a goober, being funny, and still speaking in his Asgardian tone. But no, I thought it was cool.
Infinity War helped explain a lot why it was that way too.
No, he
lost everything, and then he got that axe, and he's like, "This'll fucking take him down." And then it doesn't take him down, and then now here he is. It's 5 years later.
I think he blames himself a little bit too for the deaths of everybody because he didn't go for the head.
Well, even Rocket said he's like, yeah, I mean, he failed. I mean, we all failed, but yeah, he failed. It's perfect, and I mean, I know. Heaven forbid anybody deconstruct their superheroes, but I mean, I think that a hero who doesn't have a problem is not interesting.
Right.
What were his friends' names? The Rocket.
That was Korg and Meeks.
I love Mr. Mr. Watiti, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I forget how to pronounce his first name.
I think it's. I've heard people say Taika. I've heard people say Taika.
Yeah.
So I will split the difference and say Taika.
Yeah. Hey man,
best of both worlds.
Hey man, how's it, man?
He's so just pleasant.
Hey, that guy's back. That guy's back on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure how I feel about the Fortnite reference. If I'm being honest.
Well, people are still playing Fortnite 5 years later.
Exactly. I think that's the big news out of that, right?
Is it not Apex Legends? Is there not a new? Has Overwatch 2 not come out by now?
Noob Slayer 69 keep
fucking
Night live. Yeah.
Also, Noob Slayer is very 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little dated. Well, I mean, that guy probably didn't hear about the PlayStation switchover or something, and he's had that name for now 20 years. So, we get to some of the more tangible plot of the story, right? Everybody gets together at the Avengers compound, and they start to put the time heist plan in action, and our team starts to separate, go back in time to pull off the time heist. So we have Ant-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America go back to the Avengers 1 timeline during the alien invasion to get the Space Stone, Mind Stone, and Time Stone. So lots going on in that mini arc where Captain fights himself with America's ass. Iron Man loses Tesseract 1, we'll call it, since there's 2 Tesseracts in this story. Tesseract 1 to Loki, who Loki takes the first Tesseract, disappears, and we don't hear from him for the rest of the movie, and we'll come back to that. And then Tony and Cap decide they need to go even further back in time to get Tesseract 2. While that's happening, Ant-Man heads back with the Mind Stone. Hulk meets with the Ancient One, has a nice little conversation with an out-of-body experience where she realizes that because Doctor Strange gave up the stone, he must have done it for a good reason. While Iron Man and Cap are back in the S.H.I.E.L.D. facility, Iron Man meets Dad, has a very nice few moments with him. Cap has a nice little longing stare at Agent Carter through the window, and then they eventually go home with Tesseract 2. So any big points from here? Yeah, T2. Any big points from this arc that really stood out for you guys?
What do you think, James?
Dude, I love time travel moments. I love it when characters go back and they're where they were at that time, but doing some sneaky shit and being involved. I absolutely loved every one of those.
Like kind of angry Hulk.
Yeah. This is so mundane.
I was dying.
He was doing his best.
Well, I thought was really cool is that they actually made fun of how the time travel works in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But a lot of what's happening in those scenes when they're doing the time heist is Back to the Future 2.
Right.
A lot of it is Back to the Future 2, which I thought was kind of funny. But the thing that really, I think that probably the best part of it, all of it to me, was seeing Captain America versus Captain America, because a lot of people don't, and actually I know some people caught it, but the scene where Captain America he's getting ready to go into the elevator.
Yeah.
And all the guys that were in Hydra and Captain America Winter Soldier.
Big moment.
Like, oh, dude, is he just gonna fight him? But the thing is, Cap, armed with knowledge of the future, he does something that is literally straight out of the comics.
I remember that being a big deal.
It was a big deal. People lost their I thought they were flipping out. But when he leans in, the guy's like, "Hail Hydra," and the guy's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he's cool." And the thing is, I thought it was so amazing because not only did they take the Hail Hydra moment, but the Captain America versus Captain America, all of that is straight out of Secret Empire.
They just pulled it off the pages.
But they did it in such a way that's like, okay, well, this is our version,
right,
of this particular moment,
right, and the way the writers handled that, and then of course the Russo brothers who. Apparently, anything Marvel they touch is just
gold. Midas touch all day long.
It just apparently takes two people to direct, something. But hey, they fucking do it.
Well, but that's the beauty of it, though, is that what one of them sees that the other doesn't, vice versa. Both of them, and they have such a long history together, they know how to work together because they're brothers.
Right.
But the thing is, they have a very keen understanding of what it is they're working on. Is why every movie they've made has been like okay, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, now Endgame. It's like, dude, they're money in the bank at this point.
They understand the machinations of Marvel hero. It's like,
right.
I mean, I don't know, but it just feels like they're fans as well, because one thing I appreciated about this and probably Infinity War, but definitely more so this, because this was they were tying everything up. The sheer amount of fan service in this movie was like a river. It was a river of fan service, and
done well.
And done well, because most movies, you find people who are either they don't want to do fan service because it's like, oh, that's predictable. People will know, what's coming. I'm not going to do that. That's way too predictable. And then you have the other camp where it's just like, okay, here's all the fan service, but with no real context or thought behind it.
Yeah.
And they just throw things at you for the sake of throwing them at you.
You keep saying fan service, and it's got the worst taste in my mouth right now.
Oh.
It's not the one you're probably thinking of.
Yeah.
I watched, it's a little off topic. It's good to be a fan of the movie you're making, because then they'll probably do it justice, right?
Right.
But in some cases, they're working on movies where a trailer just happened to release recently, and a certain little blue boy is running, and he looks like
wait! You mean Furry Allen, the fastest? That's what that movie is. I'm sorry, that is not a hedge. That's not Sonic the Hedgehog. That is literally that's Furry Flash.
They just needed people that cared about the damn franchise. That's all they needed, man.
Which I'll put in the breaking news. Paramount has said that they are going to go back and completely remodel, reanimate Sonic. They've listened to the fans. The movie's going to get completely remade before release.
Are you fucking no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
I don't believe it. Till I see screenshots or something.
Well, you know what I want them to do if they do anything. Take a nod from Detective Pikachu.
Yep.
Like they literally took the work. They literally worked with the guy who did all of those realistic Pokemon fan art.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hey,
fan service."
Yes, that's
how you do it. You got him involved.
That is fan.
You got the people that cared involved. That's all it took.
That's all that matters.
But with Avengers, yes, there's an insane amount of fan service. And there it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh.
Yeah. So we got the magic of the internet, right? So this is Jeff Fowler. He says, "Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is clear. You aren't happy with the design and you wanted changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. # Sonic movie. # gotta fix fast."
I like that.
Oh man,
gotta fix fast.
Breaking news on the stream.
But I don't trust it.
But
I need more. I'll wait for more.
One eyeball.
That's a good start.
No middle, no cutoff.
Jamie is unimpressed. He's unimpressed.
Not yet. Empty promises till further.
Well, until we see the new trailer.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't believe you.
A little off topic. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So
let service and just. Yeah.
So. Well, let's get back on track here.
Yeah. So the time heist. And well, you know what? No, I said everything I wanted to say.
About the time heist?
I'm gonna shut the hell up.
No. So we've got more of the time heist. Another team that went out was Machine and Nebula. I think on Morag, really not too much interesting happened on the planet itself until they grab the Power Stone. War Machine goes back with the stone, but Nebula gets caught, or at least has her mind kind of melded with what is, I guess we'll call past Nebula, although present. Thanks, time jumps. Right. Yeah. And at this point, we get a major turn in the plot, where Thanos, now past Thanos, now realizes what's happening in the universe, that the time stones are being taken to take him away from what he believes is his destiny. So again, major plot point. What did you guys think about this turn in the story?
I thought it was going to be cut and dry when they got there, honest to God. I thought they backhanded Star-Lord. They're like, all right, cool. And they just walk in. She's like, look how awesome I am. Reaches in, burns off her robot flesh, and is like, hey, look, I'm awesome. And then I didn't even consider, I'm pretty sure Nebula's hooked up to some server with Thanos. And
best Wi-Fi ever.
Yeah, and she's in that timeline now, so there it is. Right?
Space-wide, galaxy-wide fiber.
It's
great. It's great.
It's
Are
the
you
cloud.
listening, Comcast?
Yeah.
Are you listening?
In space, they have better internet infrastructure.
I just think it's kind of ridiculous. Like that little oversight, led to Thanos coming.
Yeah.
And that whole, everything.
Well, because you never think about that. If someone is connected to a neural network, they're connected to some kind of a greater Wi-Fi setup, you would never really consider the idea that, two people who, you have person from the future, person from the past, same person, but if they're in the same space at the same time, they are on the same Wi-Fi. So it's wait, why is there a Nebula PC-1 and a Nebula PC-2? What's up with that?
Just showed up out of nowhere.
But the Russos thought about that, and that's something most people don't think about.
That's true. That's Matrix level shit.
I mean, there's really not, at least I don't have a whole lot to say, because I felt like, in terms of, so one thing I appreciated is they kind of took footage from the original films, and then it's kind of Back to the Future style, we're peeking in. So you get that great shot of Quill dancing with no music. And it's just his footsteps and him singing off key.
Oh yeah, well, because you think about it. Go back to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Mm-hmm. You think about that scene, that is probably one of the coolest opening sequences of any of the Marvel movies, it also doesn't help that I really love that song, but it just dude, he's sitting there, he's getting into it, he's dancing, and he picks up the little alien creature, he's singing into it, he's kicking aliens, just being a jerk, and you're thinking oh dude, this is so amazing. But never at any point in time did I ever think, what would this look like to somebody who was just watching him go by?
Right.
And that's what you get to see.
That's what you get.
We know.
Yeah, now we know.
He doesn't know how to sing. Star-Lord doesn't know how to sing. I think the actor, I'm pretty sure he knows. I'm pretty sure Chris Pratt.
I've heard him sing.
Hold a tune.
He can carry a tune within a bucket.
So y'all remember Little Sebastian?
Yeah.
Little Sebastian.
Miss you in the saddest fashion.
That's right.
One thing for me with Nebula, so when Nebula and gets caught by Thanos, and I apologize if you guys hear weed eaters in the background.
I thought that's what that was.
I love our yard people, but they love to cut our yard when we're doing stuff like this. So it should be over soon. If you do hear it, you might not be able to hear it. But anyways, so one thing that stuck out to me in terms of the Nebula getting hacked, in terms of the Avengers Infinity War saga movies, characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy are explicitly to blame for everything that goes wrong in both of these movies.
Yes. and I feel worse about it for Nebula though, because like she, of any character in all the, like you, okay, let's be real here. If you would have told me when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 came out that of all the characters in the MCU, Nebula would have had one of the biggest character arcs,
right,
I would have laughed you out of the damn theater.
Yep.
But the thing is, she has, and it made it that much worse. I was like, because Star-Lord, I was kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
But with Nebula, I was like, no, not her, because she is like, she changed. She's got a better outlook on life. She found friends. She's made peace with the fact that her dad is a piece of shit, and she's trying to be better. And it's like, finally, this is what I wanted, and now it's her fault. Not directly, but like indirectly, it is her. She is like, well, now what's gonna happen? Is she just gonna get sacrificed? Is she just gone? Like, what's going on here?
And then
I did like her interaction with like her bond with War Machine was really awesome.
Was cool.
I thought that was really weirdest character to bond with.
It's also our first real look at pre-Infinity War Thanos. So the Thanos that I envisioned, and you know, one of the things I really liked about Infinity War is that Thanos has been portrayed in all the end credits as this kind of mindless, you know, no plot, no thought to him bad guy, but then you kind of get this overarching, this big meaty, you know, backstory. But you see this side of him that's just very there's like that compassionate side to him a little bit, you know. But with this, it's just straight, yo, I'm here for the stones. I'm here to fuck shit up, and that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll talk about more of that later. But I thought that was kind of cool, because that was the Thanos that not saying that he didn't have story in this, because he did. But that was the Thanos that I expected to see in the first one, the Billy Badass.
Yes.
You know, guns a-blazing.
But I do want to say real quick, though, I never thought you could make Thanos scarier. And I will say, as far as, like, intimidation factor, I think a Thanos that knows he's going to die is a much scarier Thanos, because he don't give a damn.
I didn't think about that.
He accepted his fate. He knew he accomplished that shit in the past, and... Or the other...
Yeah, all the other stuff, He knows that he wins in the end.
Yeah.
But it's like, now that just makes him even more dangerous, because now he's like, well, I'm just going to go all out. What's going to happen? Not going to win?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Can't change the past.
So we're actually going to come back to that point when we a little bit closer to the end. But let's go ahead and jump to probably one of the more emotional scenes. And that's with Hawkeye and Black Widow on Vormir. They are told the same story, that a soul for a soul must be given for the soul stone. So, of course, we have the emotional scene. Natasha gives her life for Hawkeye so that way he can go back to his family. Hawkeye gets the stone and goes home. Very real. You know, we hear throughout the rest of the that that can't be undone is what we're told. How was Natasha's end? Was it an honorable and worthy one?
It definitely was. 110%. In previous movies, they'd already established like how close a friendship they had. Like they loved each other, but you know, not in a touchy-feely way, but like, hey, you know, we're like family, you and me. So when it's time for that sacrifice, both of them 110% wanted to do it. Yeah. Like they were fighting each other to stop the other one from doing it for them.
I don't think you could have picked two better characters to put in that situation, because you gotta love this too, because there is no one who was available to them that could have warned them what they were about to walk into. I mean, maybe other than Nebula, but yeah, like it makes you it makes you at least think that maybe Nat knew. But but Clint didn't know, and then when everything goes down, and you're just like, oh my god, they actually have to like they're fighting each other now, not because they're mad at each other, but because one of them wants to make the sacrifice and the other one doesn't want to let let them make that sacrifice. It's just this weird back and forth. The only thing I will say that did bother me about the scene is that neither one of them knew who that was. Neither one of them were like, "Oh, dude, it's Red Skull. What's up with that?" Because because it makes sense with Thanos and Gamora. They're like, well, "I don't know this dude. Some dude. I don't know."
Right.
But like at least I'm a little disappointed that Black Widow didn't at least go.
The fuck you doing here?
Wait. Johann Schmidt? One of the Schmidt boys?
Right.
But no, I mean, it's a great scene, though. It did actually, I think, as much as people talk about how, like, Gamora's death in Infinity War was impactful, I think Black Widow, just because we spent way more time with Black Widow, it made it even worse.
I mean, since what, Iron Man 2?
Yeah,
Iron Man
actually,
2, right?
Oh, dude.
I just gave
Iron Man 2
panic attack.
Iron Man 2. Because you think about it, I think that was Iron Man 2 was what they turned that one around pretty quick. I think it was like what 2009, 2010.
It was Iron Man 1, Thor,
and then Captain America,
then Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that had to be like what 2009.
Something like that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
One contrast that I thought so. Obviously, it didn't kind of hit me until just a minute ago. I just kind of jotted down. We find ourselves in kind of the similar "I'm gonna do it, no, I'm gonna do it" type situation at the middle and the end of the movie, because you have Hawkeye and Natasha trying to throw themselves off a cliff, and then you have Star-Lord and Thor talking about who's the captain at the end. All right, anyway.
Wait a minute. Who's the bad guy?
But no,
Cool.
I thought that they did a good job with that, because even I didn't know who was going to take the plunge. Like, I had a feeling it was probably going to be Natasha. Thought it was going to be Black Widow, because Clint, he has the family.
I won't sound mean, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have been as affected as much if Hawkeye had done it. No, I'm not roasting them.
No, I'm with you on that one. I actually am with. Well, and also because we know Black Widow had a movie coming out.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, she's got a movie coming out. She ain't died.
Yeah, she's.
And it's like, oh,
plot armor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Plot armor was not active this time, but
No. She had +2 plot armor, and she still got.
Yeah.
But apparently that movie's a prequel, so there you go.
Yeah, well, apparently so.
They just have like, oh, by the way, that's a prequel.
But if any of you and a buddy go to Vormir, just know.
Only one's coming back.
Go to the next planet.
May you
So-
bathe in the waters of the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the last stone. We have Thor and Rocket, who go to Asgard to get the Reality Stone, aka the Aether. Thor meets up with his mom, has a nice touchy-feely moment with her. He steals the hammer from past Thor, who I assume is still sitting in Asgard, confused to where his hammer is. But Rocket successfully gets the Reality Stone. They go back home. So what were some of the more pivotal moments of this scene that helped develop some of these characters for you?
And how many times does Thor need a rousing speech and still make the wrong damn decision? Your Rocket got real with him for a bit, I think that was speech number 2 in that scene.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, it's cool, all right. And then he just fucking wanders off.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing you gotta look at, too, is that, like, I think he needed it from the one person who... Also, by the way, kudos to Rene Russo.
Yeah.
Because I actually... I was... I'm glad they finally put some respect on these Thor movies, because I mean, granted, yes, they have been kind of hit or miss, but I actually thought it was awesome that they went back, took the more serious Thor movie, and injected some levity into it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also love the fact that they didn't let Freya be this like, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's like, dude, she's God. She was God that was raised by witches.
She was raised by witches.
Of course, she knows that you are not the Thor that is supposed to be running around right now. Yeah, exactly.
It looked a little different. A little different.
The big Thorbowski running around here. The dude literally is in Asgard, which apparently Asgardians don't have raccoons, because even the other Asgardians thought Rocket was a rabbit.
Which was great. I loved that.
Yeah, it was great.
They called him a rabbit.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear
But
that.
did anyone notice though that Natalie Portman, because I think it's been a matter of public record that
Yes.
she has no interest in being involved with the MCU.
But she
ever
was
again.
there.
She was there.
She was there.
They used old footage and I think like outtake stuff to put her back in. But I just thought it was really cool. Like it was
Forget
one of those.
you, Portman. We don't need you.
It's like, man, I'm like Natalie, you're really messing up this this Jane Foster situation for me. I mean, I have high hopes for your future, but you're now dashing them. But no, I think it's great that Thor got to get that pep talk.
Yeah.
From Freya, and that is the one that was like, oh,
Thanks, Mom.
maybe that should wake me up, and then we can get back on track. But yeah, just seeing levity in Thor: The Dark World era MCU was
That was his real turning point, because if I'm not mistaken, the whole reason he went and agreed to this time heist shit was because Rocket said they had beer.
Yeah,
like just like
no, that was it. The only okay, can we just go ahead and put some respect on Rocket's name? He is the MVP here. Just about every single time something is going sideways, he's just like, okay, here's the plan.
He's Rocket.
He's like, oh wait, Hulk, you're sucking at getting this guy to like join. There's beer.
Right.
Oh, now you want to come along.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
no, you guys covered it. That's 100%.
Cool.
I'm with you guys.
So yeah. So they come back to present day or present day plus 5, I guess. But the gang gets back together. A little bit of a convo. They get all the stones together on who's going to do the unsnapping. Come to realize Hulk needs to do it. It's mostly gamma radiation. Of course, he's more or less impervious to that even a huge amount of damage like that. So he does the snap. However, it does severely cripple his arm, and almost instantaneously as this is happening, Thanos arrives and just blasts down the Avengers compound. We see Hawkeye under the rubble. He takes the Iron Gauntlet, that is my term for it, that has all the gems in it, and starts to run through the sewer as he's being chased by some of Thanos' army. So any insights that you guys saw here before we get to the big battle scene?
So I'll say first, I enjoyed, since we didn't talk about it at the beginning, I enjoyed Smart Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk. Yeah. But there was just something like my love of it kind of waned a little bit towards the end of the movie, just because I'm not saying I didn't. I liked it. I really liked it, but it did. There's something about seeing Hulk just go into a freaking rage monster and just whatever's nearby is getting destroyed. There's something about that I liked. Also, in the back in time scene, still Hulk no take stairs. Like I love that. I love it. But it was the logical direction to take, and I enjoyed it. But I loved Thanos just fucking raining hell on the Avengers.
Man.
I've never seen somebody just have just a complete disregard for anything. Fuck that thing.
Oh no, that was the wildest pull-up I've ever seen in my life. Like you hear people talk about like, man, pull up, and it's like Thanos is like, oh, you want me to pull up?
I'll pull up.
Okay, fine.
And my chick.
Look, he's like, I'll get the choppers. Get the choppers. We're about to, like it literally. He just rolls up on Avengers HQ, just like, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, dude, what are you doing?
The place you would assume would be like the safest place on the planet. Avengers compound.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No, teensy tiny bit nitpicky.
Had barnyard protocol and everything.
Yeah.
It's a bit amazing that all of them were just ready to fight and good to go still after surviving an onslaught of rail guns and whatever the fuck else they were shooting from that ship.
Well, and I also do want to point out too, like, I did now granted, while I appreciated the aliens throwback. With Clint when he was underground, he shoots the
thing,
the arrow, and it's like you see all of them, and they're like
on the walls.
I thought that was awesome. That was amazing. But the fact that Hawkeye is consistently fighting above his station.
He is.
He is consistently fighting above his station.
He is.
But yeah, he's putting the hurt on him. Ant-Man, who I was certain was dead.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah, he was at ground zero.
That's
took
right.
a blast, and he gets him. He's like, oh, I'm good. I'm tiny, but I'm good.
Scott. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, but no, it is weird that they all were like pretty much good to go. But I do appreciate that as the fight went on, you could see people getting
fatigue.
Yeah, especially in like Captain America.
Yeah, poor Cap.
Cap was just taking he bless his heart.
He was like the state of. He looked like he just got out of the 2016 election.
Yeah, he was just like.
Everything's broken. We won't get political. We won't get political.
Oh God, what are we doing? I can't
so
do
let-
this all day.
I do want to say one thing though, before we move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So if we cycle back to, the whole Hawkeye, Black Widow throwing themselves off a cliff thing. The only reason Hawkeye made it out of there is because he had a fucking grapple hook. Does Black Widow have a grapple hook?
It kind of feels like she should, but she does not.
I've never seen a grapple
she
hook.
has like that line wire thing, but
Yeah.
it's not. But like once she uses it, it's pretty much it's like she doesn't have.
Does she have explosion arrows?
No, no. Well, I tell you what, it is probably for the best that she didn't make it because honestly, I feel like I don't know, man. She learned how to use Chitauri tech without ever having seen it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt like Clint was probably better suited for the final fight than Black Widow was. Plus, I kind of feel like too. Hawkeye probably got the shortest end of the stick when it came to the Avengers movies because he literally spent, I think, 3/4 of the runtime of the first one as a bad guy, as a mindless drone.
Right.
And then he got to have an arc in the second one, and he didn't really get a whole lot to do in Civil War. He shows up for a little bit, and he's out. And then you finally get, and of course, he is nowhere to be seen in Infinity War.
Right.
So then it's like, well, we got to give him something. Yeah.
Everybody gets their moment in this movie.
Everyone. Everybody is getting a moment,
including Hawkeye.
Yes, Hawkeye gets.
He had a few big moments,
gets
man.
a few.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, I didn't bring this up earlier, but I just do want to point out for those who question whether or not Marvel and Disney have the balls to do violent scenes, or if you ever wondered if the Punisher was possible in a Disney-run MCU, Ronin is proof.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it won't be gory, but I mean, it can be violent.
It can be done.
Because Ronin was out here
slicing.
Dude, he was slicing, dicing, making julienne fries, everything the whole way as Ronin. I was sad that he stopped wearing the mask. But I get it. It's a SAG thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but that may have been the first time in like in a Marvel movie where when he cut someone like on the neck, like he was holding it, you weren't seeing blood gushing, but you saw that stuff start pouring.
Yeah. Well, and you even saw the and also a first for a lot of movies. You saw the blood on the blade.
That's right.
Yeah. It wasn't a bloodless fight.
He did one of those.
Oh yeah, you see it and when he wipes it, there's still realistically, I might add, the blood is still mostly on the blade. Yeah. And you're just like, oh,
all right, Disney, all right, Mickey.
All right, okay, you shut me up.
Okay.
So let's.
Are they going to show Juggernaut rip Deadpool in half?
No, they will not.
We don't necessarily need that.
We don't need that.
So let's talk about the big battle, and there's a lot to cover, right? A lot of big moments happen throughout this just incredibly shot, incredible cinematography, coordination, choreography that happened all throughout this. But Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, all three fighting Thanos, who for me I felt was surprisingly strong and held his own, obviously, against all three of them without any of the stones. As somebody who's not as familiar with his character in the comics and had only seen him at sort of Infinity Stone capacity. I was expecting him to be quite a bit weaker than what we saw, so that was surprising for me. But of course, throughout that fight, we get the amazing shot that I hope we get an HD version at some point of Cap standing against the army, sort of alone. That stays on the screen for just a few seconds. And then, of course, the big portal scene, right? Everything opens up. Everybody who's been unsnapped comes through. It is just this big monster, amazing moment. Everybody's pumped in the theater. It's about to go down. Captain just, Avengers, assemble. Go fucking get him! And everybody just wiles out. Captain has another big moment. Is wield Mjolnir.
Yeah,
I knew it. Thor. Thor yells out, and has just an amazing fight sequence with Thanos, with Mjolnir, doing all sorts of combos between the shield and the hammer. Just chaos going on. Massive, massive, impressive battle once again. Thanos is starting to get his ass whipped a little bit. So he calls down another rain of fire from the warship. Absolute anarchy, raining on his own people. Nobody gives a shit. So Captain Marvel comes in and puts a kibosh to the warship, just flies right on through. Get out of the way. We get the big scene, right, with all the female superheroes getting together to start to clear out the battlefield. The gauntlet is going through a rally throughout different superheroes' hands. Spider-Man takes it. We have Black Panther who takes it. We've got the really cool moment between Spider-Man and Captain Marvel where Peter introduces himself because he's such a polite young boy. Captain Marvel looks to take it home, who Thanos gets in her way. They've got a little fight where Thanos ends up taking the Power Stone out of the gauntlet, gives her a good one in the kisser, and we start to get to the end, and I'll pause here to break for conversation before we get to those crucial final moments of the fight. But again, a lot here. What were some of the biggest takeaways for you guys in this incredible scene?
There's a lot to unpack here. And I know we're not going to be able to touch everything, but this harkens back to one. We see the Mad Titan Thanos, fucking just like you said, so fucking powerful, dude. You see the Thanos you didn't see in the first movie that I expected to see, but that, you know, of course, to your point, he had the Infinity Gauntlet. He could just, oh, you're spaghetti now, you're a thing, you know, whatever. You get to see his actual fighting prowess, which was fucking awesome to me.
He went Darth Maul on
Warglaive,
dude. Yeah. The shot with Captain America standing by himself, you know, in front of the entire army.
Straight out of the comics.
Really?
Straight out of the comics.
That's that
gave me chills.
Moment everyone in the theater just,
yeah.
Like he's
tightens
like,
the shield.
He's like walking down, like, and all of a sudden he's just impossible odds. That's straight out of the freaking comics. Oh, so good.
Because, I mean, in Infinity War, you had Thanos. He had the Infinity Gauntlet. He comes through. Comes through the portal. He's punching. Even Cap, kind of stops his punch, and and even Thanos is like, oh shit, all right, little guy, but, you know, still pushes him out the way. But this time you see Captain and him have a full on, you know, slobber knocker,
dude,
as JR would say. You know,
Captain America
with a steel chair, by God. So yeah, I mean, everything. So many like tear-inducing moments there, chills, everything. What did you think, Ernie?
Oh man. Okay, so a lot to throw down here. Okay, I'm gonna try and run through them as quick as humanly possible. Okay, first things first. Did anyone catch Howard the Duck?
I did not.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Howard the Duck. Yes,
was he on the field?
He was on the field of battle.
Came through the portal.
It's the shot where you see the Wasp. And all the Guardians characters are like the characters you've seen from, like, I guess, like the other space portions of Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok, when they're all coming up behind her. If you look to, it's the right side of the screen. If you will see Howard the Duck walking in. He's got this crazy looking like space shotgun or something. It's freaking insane.
They literally got everybody for this, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. No, every character who has ever shown up in any movie has shown that is alive. or was snapped rather
Right.
at some point. It has been still alive by that point.
Was Korg there?
Yeah, actually, Korg and Meek show up. Flying Meek at that. Dude, no,
we're here to fight. We're here to fight, man.
Yeah, no. They're like, dude, because they pulled up with Valkyrie.
Yeah,
and then you had M'Baku. Everybody was, it was just beautiful. But the thing I love, here's the thing I love, and yes, seeing Thanos in full God tier status, because this thing people forget. Thanos does, because I always see people say this in forums, like, oh man, who could take Thanos if he had like the full Infinity Gauntlet? Dude, first off, there are people who can't take him without it.
Right.
Thanos, I've read comics where I always tell people, if you ever want to see Thanos at his absolute weakest and still be an absolute badass, read Thanos Quest. Thanos has no Infinity Stones. He literally goes into space and is literally deboing. No Infinity Stone power. He just going out there and is just deboing Infinity Stones from everybody. And I mean, literally, he is literally doing the equivalent. He's like, my Infinity Stone, punk. Give me that. and it is beautiful. I've read comics where Thanos has beaten somebody who has the Phoenix Force. No Infinity Stones. The man is a beast. And they showed it. Like I said, he is a far more terrifying threat. I mean, he's more one-dimensional in this movie.
Yep.
But I feel like he is a bigger threat.
But we got to see his other dimensions in the first movie, so we know that.
Yeah. So we didn't even need that in this one. But I do want to say real quick too, dude, the portal scene. Oh, I get chills till this day.
Just think about it.
Till dude, as soon as I heard Falcon say "on your left," and I was like, no.
That was from Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah, that was from Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Callbacks from Winter Soldier. Yeah. And also, Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, I love that scene because there is a brief point, obviously not in the movies, it won't happen because it'll be like, Carol's robbing the cradle at that point. But in the comics, not too long ago, Captain Marvel and Spider-Man were kind of slick dating, so I thought that was kind of cute that they had that little back moment. And forward. Yeah. But dude, the A-Force scene with all the women coming up, pulling up around Carol, like, hey, we're about to ride on this Infinity Gauntlet. And like Okoye's like, oh yeah, you ain't doing this alone.
Yeah.
And then Scarlet Witch, Wasp, well, I guess you can't technically call Pepper Potts rescue in this, but she is wearing the rescue armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, just all the so good. It's so good. Because like when they do it, I was like, and most people don't think about this, but man, when they lined up, it was almost the A-Force #1 cover, and I was like, dude, where's this movie?
What else do I need?
Where's this movie? First off, if you're not working on this movie right now, you're fired. Fired.
What'd you think, Jamie, of the final fight scene?
There was so much going on.
Oh god,
all over the place. Like when Ari just told me about Howard the Duck, I was thinking about, okay, who did I fucking see in that scene? And it's just a wall.
It's everybody.
So many.
It's a spread. It's like those. Like you go to the comic book shop, you see those huge posters where it's like everybody's fighting everybody.
It was an annual.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, the fold out cover.
Yeah.
Dude,
but overall, I mean, it felt good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing felt good.
Yeah.
Now actually, I do got a little bit of feedback. We talked about all the women showing up at once. Mm-hmm. Now, if I saw Captain America, he had Mjolnir, he was standing there like a leader. Mm-hmm. Everyone shows up. He's like, all right, get him. Everyone charges in at that point, right? Mm-hmm. So we're talking an active, huge battle at this point. Everyone's everywhere. I found it a bit odd that only the women happened to all group up in one spot at that moment.
It was kind of weird. It was kind of weird.
I mean,
when you put it that way, yeah.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
It just, in a big battle like that, it just felt a little odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing that it's on a smaller scale. But if you go back to like Infinity War, something kind of similar happened. Like you had Black Widow versus Proxima Midnight, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, where's this huge battle? And then Okoye just kind of shows about nowhere.
You're not alone.
It's like, hey, I got your back.
She's not alone.
And then next year they're going toe to toe with Proxima Midnight, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was kind of one of those. It was like weird. It's like, were y'all looking for each other?
So my thing, and I won't dive too deep in this, but there's been some articles written talking about how the females in the Marvel movies, particularly this one, since it's the topic of debate right now, have been literally just nothing but there to prop up male characters and everything like that, which is bullshit in my opinion.
Yeah,
because everybody has their moment in this movie, 100%. But to take a franchise like this, who has done so much, with women in terms of just empowering them and giving little girls like idols, people they can look up to.
Captain Marvel's big about that, man.
Oh no, dude, let me tell you something. You can't put a price on the look on my daughter's face when we took her to go see Captain Marvel. Dude. You cannot put a price. Like, she literally was just sitting there just like blown away. I mean, and now she went from, granted, she's only 3. And but the thing is, she knows all our heroes.
Right.
And now she knows Captain Marvel. Matter of fact, she will now pick Captain Marvel out of a crowd. She'll be like, Captain Marvel. Like, she'll be like, Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Venom, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's Captain Marvel right there.
I got
That's
you.
my girl.
Yeah. So to your point, you have all the female characters lined up, which I thought was awesome. Like, I was that guy. I was clapping. Other people were clapping.
Yeah. No, I was into it.
But everybody had their moment. So you had that moment that we talked about in Infinity War, where you had the females kind of sticking up for each other and beating the shit out of Proxima Midnight.
Yeah.
You had that to the power of 10 in this movie. But all that to say, to your point, there is an essence of, how'd all y'all get in that same spot?
Yeah.
But I'm willing to forego my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
For a little bit of cool factor in a movie where it's tying up 10, 11 years of movies and characters.
Right.
I'm willing to set that aside.
Do you know how I rationalize everything weird that happens in comic books?
Comic books?
I'm usually just like, because comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it's for comic books.
That's the way you have to look at it, man. That's the way you have to do it.
I do want to say this, too, though, as far as Captain Marvel goes. She is not in the movie as much as I think people probably assume she would be. And honestly, as much as that actually disheartened me, I'm kind of glad she wasn't. Because if she were there from the jump,
I feel like she would have made short work of like everything.
This whole movie would have been a lot. This would not have been a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half.
Like, because honestly, Captain Marvel can't be there because Hulk has to be the one to take the Infinity Gauntlet and try and undo everything. And on top of all that, if Captain Marvel would have been there, she could have done it, and she probably would not have even been bothered by it. Because Captain Marvel is literally like, her power level is even greater than that, like, and durability is even greater than the Hulk's. Like, the only other character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to that point that was as powerful as her was Vision, and he ain't even there anymore.
Right.
So, like, you couldn't have Captain Marvel present for any of the time heist stuff. You couldn't have her present for any of the, for any of the unsnapping.
Yeah.
You couldn't have her present for, like, because even having her there at the very beginning against Thanos on his farm, it was too much.
Right.
Like, because she literally was able to hold him down. I mean, granted, he's weakened.
Right.
But just her presence being there made the entire fight that much easier.
That being said, Prime Thanos laid the goddamn smackdown on Captain.
Oh, yeah. No. Make no mistake, dude. Like, because the headbutt, like, when he did the headbutt, I was like, and she just kind of looked up and was like,
bitch, please.
I was like, thank you. But I did appreciate the fact that, like, and this is the thing. And because I'm a wrestling fan, this is how you book a match and you keep your champion strong, even though the champion is getting worked by the opposition. What you do is you let them attack the person, like let him headbutt her and let her show, like let her no sell the headbutt. But the thing is, you have him go, oh, I gotta get the steel chair now.
Yeah.
I get the steel chair. This is how this is how you keep everybody still looks strong, and everybody wins.
Are you referring to ejecting the Power Stone to?
Yeah. No, he did that because I was like, dude, that is actually smart. Like, yes, he is a field general. He's a tactician. Thanos is one of the most tactical minds in the Marvel Universe. Of course he's going to take the Power Stone.
And he doesn't even have to do a dance party when he holds it.
No, he doesn't. He literally, he didn't have to be like, hey, man, Running Man. Yeah. He didn't have to floss. He didn't do any of that. He literally just got on, just did it. But I did appreciate that they kind of put a balance on that. Like Thanos had to do it.
She was gone. She was gone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, no, she did. I mean, no, he laid her out with that because that makes sense.
With the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
so speaking of having big stones, let's talk about Iron Man and the end of this battle. So Thanos gets the full-powered Infinity Gauntlet, but Tony gets in there, and as he thinks, oh shit, Tony turns around and has all of the stones on the Iron Gauntlet, and we see that Tony makes the sacrifice to snap away Thanos and give him a taste of his own medicine, and the entire army, and then has the very emotional death scene with Peter and Pepper there, as he signs off one last time, and we see the light fade from his chest. So the impact of this scene, guys.
I cried.
Yeah, no, I mean,
cried like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say I wasn't sobbing. I think Kim was.
Yeah, she was. She definitely was.
But I mean, I felt the tear roll down my face. I mean, there's just something about. I mean, I was. And what? This was Iron Man was 2008.
Yeah, 2008. Actually, it came out literally 11 years ago today.
There you go.
Happy Iron Man Day.
Yeah,
Happy Iron Man Day.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
I was, in college at the time. Fucking didn't know what from what. Iron Man came out. I go see it. It's been 11 years, and to see somebody like that icon, that symbol of like. He was the lead singer of the Marvel, revolution, if you'll call it that. To literally, like, just lay down his life to save the universe. When Pepper and Peter run up to him and they're like, "We did it," and he's just catatonic, dude. He's just there. His face is all burnt from the snap, and it didn't hit me so much when Peter was there, but when Pepper came up, that's when it hit me. And Tony, like, he never says, and like I'm getting a little bit of it right now. So, but he like barely says anything. Like he's just
it's like you can tell he's trying to,
and then he just fucking dies, dude. He dies,
just out.
He wanted to stay home and raise his daughter, man, and that's what he did for 5 years. For 5 years, he had the life that he wanted. After Infinity War, but he chose instead to give everyone else their lives and their families instead. And with that, that was, if you're gonna kill Iron Man and send him off, that's the way you do it right there.
I was a bit confused initially, if I'm going to be honest. When it actually started showing the funeral scene, I was like, oh shit, this is how it is now. Wow. But I thought, like, he did the snap, and apparently that took a massive toll on him because he's got the power of the universe in his hand. But the stones aren't depleted after that. Yeah, they're still right there. Yeah?
Right.
So they had the power to eradicate half the life in the entire known universe. Could they not have used something there to just, hey man, here's a potion heal for you via gems?
Now I do want to. Now here's where you start getting into the sketchy territory.
Yeah.
So the things that the gauntlet does. Okay, now here's the other problem. The gauntlet in the Marvel the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a little bit underpowered from the one in the comics. Like in the comics, you could literally just be like, boom, death, life, this, that, everything.
Right.
It wasn't this huge convoluted thing. But in the movies, they've done it differently because they wanted to try and make it to where everything had weight. So like anything that the gauntlet does technically cannot be undone unless it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Like for instance, case in point where Thanos, when he used it, he got damaged.
Yeah.
And granted, we could also say maybe it was because he's a proud bastard, and he's very like pragmatic. But he just decided it was better just to get rid of the stones than to fix himself. I think the things that the gauntlet does to the person wielding it just can't be undone. Kind of like how you have the soul stone.
Right.
You can't undo the death of the person that was sacrificed for the soul stone. So it gets really weird.
Because then you get into the alternate timelines where Gamora died for the soul stone, but hey, we snatched her out of an alternate timeline. There she is. So
it's awkward.
So what's to stop going back in time, getting Tony and bringing him for
Because then that messes up another universe.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the Russos even went as far as to say that they spent 3 years working on the script for this and shooting this to make it to where time travel couldn't necessarily be used to just fix anything they wanted.
Right.
They wanted every decision that was made, every action that was taken to have weight, regardless, which is why they kind of made the rule. They're like, oh yeah, technically you can't change the past. Like if you go back, the past, what was your present doesn't exist anymore, and where you're at now in the past is now your present.
Whole different timeline.
Like it's a whole different timeline, which is how Nebula can technically kill her past self, but still. Like it's kind of
fade out of the photo.
Right. It's what they call it was the grandfather paradox, where like you can go back in time, you can kill you can't. You can technically kill your grandfather, but it won't necessarily kill you because if you kill your grandfather, then you technically would not be born. And how could you kill your grandfather if you were never? It's one of those things. Like it's a paradox. So that's how they kind of wrote it out. And of course, and what they did, and I've seen a lot of people complain about this online. But the thing is, I think people are missing the bigger picture. These things aren't necessarily so much inconsistencies as they are Easter eggs and maybe hints of what's to come. The Russos have been very open about the fact that if they did whatever their next thing would be, they want it to be Secret Wars. And that's how you get Secret Wars. You create a multiverse with all these different branching possibilities, all these different things that have happened. Now you have that timeline. Or not that timeline, but you have all these multiple timelines you can build off of and kind of make that happen. But
I gotcha.
But yeah, it gets weird. The time travel rules are really weird because they're so different from the more established
the current movie timeline.
Timeline stuff. Like we're used to like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
God, why am I blanking on all the movies that they listed off? But yeah, like A Wrinkle in Time.
Right.
But yeah, we're so used
Die
to
Hard.
Die Hard. Yeah, dude. Christmas movie. And time travel movie.
Right.
I like it. Actually, yes, that will happen eventually. They will make that a real thing.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you guys with this thought before we move on to the next scene of we had Doctor Strange telling Iron Man when he asked, "Hey, is this the one we win?" And Doctor Strange said something to the effect of, "Well, I can't tell you because if I tell you, that inevitably changes what we're doing." And then you get to the part where right beforehand, he gives him the one.
Yeah.
And Tony goes on to fulfill his destiny. Now, you take what he says and you think back to what Thanos learned in 2004 or whatever that timeline was. That's somebody who learned his future. And because he learned his future, his outcome changed.
Yep.
Goddamn.
The takeaway there is that if you know your destiny, one of two things happen, right? You either do everything in your power to change that destiny, which ultimately changes it, or you were always meant to try to change your destiny, which forces you onto your destiny path. And if you try very hard to make your destiny happen, you probably do something that you wouldn't have normally done that ends up deviating you from your destiny. So that was kind of a hidden thing that was in there, but I thought a pretty interesting insight from Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, even to kind of piggyback on what you're saying too. Yeah, Thanos knew his future. And he did try to actively change it. Like, I mean, he still wanted to get the Infinity Stones. But at the same time, he even made a point to talk about how, like, oh, well, apparently I didn't take out this planet when I did everything I did. Well, I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna make that a thing. So yeah, he did exactly what Doctor Strange warned Tony not to do.
His goal changed too.
Yeah, no, his overall
everything.
like,
you know what? Whole universe.
Yeah,
I'll make my own.
So yeah, there you go. So that's that divergent timeline now, and it's like, dude, oh god, there's so many wonderful things. There's so many wonderful things in this movie. I want to watch it again.
They did. It's so easy to fuck up time travel. It's so easy. We've seen it so many times, and I can say that this movie did a fantastic job with time travel.
Yes.
There were very minimal loopholes. Anytime you do time travel, there's going to be loopholes. How do you?
The movies always break their own rules.
Yes,
and this one didn't. I mean, they set the rules, and I think they did it so quickly. Some people miss it, but like they set the rules, they played by the rules, and even though some people do feel that yes, they messed up, they messed with time, or they broke their rules, they really didn't.
Right.
So
yeah, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
So as we get to the complexity of time travel,
there it is.
okay, we have one of the final scenes where Captain is going back in time to bring the stones back to the moment they were taken, and he ends up not coming back through, but instead we see him as old Cap, where he passes the torch to Falcon, passes the title, passes the shield, and we get that final scene of Captain dancing with Peggy in what we believe to be 1945. So how'd you guys feel about this little time shenanigan here?
One thing that I really enjoyed, and that I felt like more people would catch, but every time I tell somebody, they're like, huh? Except for you.
Yeah.
Except for you. And I think you caught it too. So when he goes back in time, when Cap goes back in time, he takes Thor's hammer with him. And everybody just kind of, for some reason, assumed that he's just taking, like, this is mine now.
Yeah.
No, he takes it back to the point in time that he originally took it from to give that poor Thor his hammer back. So to your point earlier, that Thor was not left wondering where his hammer was for very long.
Good point.
He brought it back.
It may even explain a scene in Thor, maybe the Dark World or another, where he's holding the hand out for the hammer and it's taking forever to get back. That actually may explain it. I think there actually is a scene in Thor: The Dark World where that actually happens, where the hammer is taking longer than normal.
Come on.
The wifey, when I watched it the other night, and there 100% is. So I liked that. I liked that Captain finally got his dance. She saved that dance for him, yeah, I mean, those were the two big things that I had for Captain and the time travel, I
was a bit naive for that moment. I honestly didn't think he was going to go back and stay.
Right.
I didn't even consider it.
I tell you what, the second that he went, and then they started, because they did this little thing, it was a little tell they did, when they're like, okay, well, yeah, we're going to give him, Hulk made a comment about how, technically it's only 5 seconds for us, so it's however long he needs, blah, blah, blah. The second,
what was that? Part of the ceiling just fell.
I was like, what's that? But no, but the second that they kind of pointed at that, I was like, not coming back.
Right.
And then I was like, and then when they were sitting there waiting, I was like, he better not be sitting like somewhere off to the side.
Right.
He better not be sitting somewhere. And then as soon as Bucky was like,
and where was he?
Yeah, where was he? He was sitting somewhere off to the damn side. And then Bucky's like, oh hey, look over here, and I was like,
I thought it was Skinny Cap for a second. For a split second, I thought it was Skinny Cap.
I do want to say, though, this, too, not exactly how they do it, but this is also right out of the comics.
Really?
The way Cap becomes old is different. In the comics, it's because an enemy he's facing literally drains the super soldier serum out of his body, so he becomes old. But and then he has to pass over the torch to Falcon.
Sounds way less noble than the way it went down.
Yeah, way less noble. It's a way less noble ending. But I do want to point out, though, I don't know if anybody caught this, but the look on Bucky's face, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, if Cap did this, and he undid Bucky's Winter Soldier, blah, 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 blah. I want to point out that it seemed as though Bucky knew something. Like, Bucky knew what was going on. Like, he seemed like he didn't say anything, but he just, the way that he reacted to the situation and being like, hey, you need to go talk to him.
Yeah. He knew.
Bucky knew something was up.
He knew.
So whether he was, in on it, or if he, or by virtue of whatever was because you can't really change the past, but by virtue of something, if anyone was going to know, it would have been Bucky. And I thought all of it was really cool. It actually, of all the moments that brought tears to my eyes between Tony and actually, I do want to make a confession. I actually cried more when Happy was talking to Tony's daughter.
Cheeseburgers.
The cheeseburger. He was like, "Are you hungry?
Yeah.
You want some cheeseburgers?
All the cheeseburgers.
Your daddy liked cheeseburgers.
I love cheeseburgers too.
I'm gonna get you all the cheeseburgers, dude. I was done. I was done. Literally, I just leaned my head on my wife's on her shoulder because we're just
sad moment, man.
As a father with a daughter that maybe is roughly around the same age as, I think my daughter's probably a little bit older than Morgan is, but the same mentality. I was just like, if I ever die, get her all the cheeseburgers. Hers would be chicken nuggets, though.
Yeah.
Get her all the chicken nuggets, please, with barbecue sauce. But no, I thought that was amazing, though. And I'm actually surprised I have not heard more outrage about that whole Falcon Captain America.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because I heard all of it when the comic came out.
Oh yeah, maybe it was all spent. But that probably caught me off guard more than anything. For some reason, it didn't register to me to pass the torch of Captain America. And so then when he pulled out the shield and gave it to him, I was like, oh, okay. Well, shit. Okay.
Got another Captain America. Look at that.
Also, can we discuss the fact that Captain America, older Captain America, looks eerily like Joe Biden? Can we talk about that?
It kind of does.
Was I the only one that thought that? But I did appreciate that Captain America he was still being himself. Like, he was still like, even when he's like, man, it's heavy, man. It feels like it's not mine. And he's like, and once again, a line right out of the comics, he was like, no, it's yours.
It's yours. It's yours. So my question is from somebody who has not read the comics. In the comics, did old Cap? I assume he still took the super serum and everything because he had the shield and everything, yeah? And he just didn't get frozen in ice for 60 years.
I'm guessing that had to have been... Well, because, I mean, at some point... Well, yeah, because when one of the points he has to return the Tesseract, he has to return it, was it to the 70s? Yeah. It had to be like the 60s, 70s, something like that. So, yeah, at that point... at that point, a Captain America of some sort has to still be frozen.
Right.
And either...
make sure he stays frozen.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Well, because either he...
There's two of them.
Well, and also the thing we got to take into consideration, too, is the fact that his shield was damaged. So he comes back, fresh shield. Now, either that Captain America got left.
I'm super fucking confused now, dude.
Yeah, no, either that Captain America got left in ice, or the weirder one, that Captain America still got brought out. But maybe something happened to that Captain America.
So here's the theory that I've enjoyed, read on that, is that there were two Captain Americas who basically lived in parallel. You have the one that we see through the entire MCU story arc. He goes back in time to relive a normal life, and continues to do that, more or less, and just does that in secret with Peggy Carter. We'll say Captain America B does come out of ice, does the whole MCU story arc, and just repeats the whole process.
We should be in his own they both should be in their own timeline at that point, not in the one that he went back in time from. Yeah.
Well, technically, he can still be there. The other Captain. Here's the weird part, and I actually caught this on somebody else's thing, on a thread or something like that. Peggy Carter in, I think it's either the Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War. I think it's actually the Winter Soldier. She reveals that she got married, but she never reveals the name of the person who she got married to. All she says is that it was a soldier who was saved by Captain America. They never really say who it is.
So there we go.
It's one of those things I kind of feel like, and you also got to bear in mind, Russo's directed that movie. So of course they are.
Yep.
They probably.
If that's true. That's some clever shit.
Dude, no, and the thing is, and I want to give them all the credit in the world for it. But another thing I'll probably also say about the time traveling shenanigans, something that kind of going back to how maybe our Captain America laid back in the cut and was just kind of doing his own thing and just kind of staying low key. It actually is really similar to a Superman story arc that they did in the DC Comics not too long ago, where the New 52 Superman died, and but the whole time, the Superman from before the New 52 was in the New 52 timeline, but he was keeping a low key. He would occasionally help out with like stuff that was going on in the DC universe. He wouldn't make his presence known. He kept it low key, played everything under the table, and he knew everything that was going on. He was like, "Oh well, I helped out at this fight, I helped out at that fight, but y'all just didn't see me." And they even showed scenes where like you could see him in the background, like real small.
So you think it would have been something similar here?
So I think it would be something similar here, where maybe Cap did he went back, he kept a low profile, but because Cap is, he can't just stay out of a fight. Right. He probably got involved in a lot of the fights that the Avengers were, involved in. He just didn't make, himself known to them.
So both of America's asses
out
there kicking
double ass.
other asses.
Dude, just looking good. Looking nice and tight. Which, by the way, that's America's ass.
It is. It is.
And a fine ass it is.
And that was the one. So I told you I avoided all spoilers. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see it till Monday. Mm-hmm. Of course, it came out Thursday night. I managed to avoid all spoilers.
Oh, wow.
I went in completely fresh. I just avoided Reddit. I avoided Facebook. Mm-hmm. I didn't even open Instagram. Like, nothing. Mm-hmm. The one thing I came very close was on Facebook. I was checking something, and you know how Facebook does that thing every now and again where you'll be looking and all of a sudden it'll fucking reload.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It did that, and it was a picture, and all I read was Avengers Endgame spoilers without context. It was
yeah.
And I only saw one of the 4 picture things, and it was a stock photo of men's underwear that was an American flag on it. That was it. So the moment they said America's ass, I was like, okay,
there it is.
All right, there it is.
And here's the thing, because I follow this stuff religiously. I follow the news, the casting stuff, the directors, all that stuff.
Blurred Without Fear.
Oh yeah, Blurred Without Fear. It's what I do, man. But here's the thing. I knew about Rescue. 2 years ahead of time because I assumed it was something that would happen in Infinity War, and it never happened. So I was like, oh, maybe it's part of that fake footage they claim they shot. So by the time it finally came around, and you saw like Pepper Potts in the suit, I was like, forgot about that.
Right.
And there was lots of stuff I knew, but even though I knew it, and it was stuff that I was like, it's probably true, maybe it's not true. I was like, oh wow, that they actually did this. So that's where a lot of my emotion came from in the movie, was just like, dude, they did this. They had the balls to do this.
Yep. Props.
Wow.
Thanks, Russo brothers.
And
For
they're
real.
not done, right? We've got as we look at the whole film, we had a couple of points that really led to some future setup. Mm-hmm. We had again Loki, who took Tesseract 1 and disappeared with the Space Stone. We have Thor joining the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. For what we, assume to be Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
We have the news of a Vision and Wanda spinoff that apparently is going to take place in the 1950s. We just know that from Disney Plus news. Mm-hmm. We also have a question in the chat from RMH2000 asking, do we think that there's going to be a Kids Avengers or Kids Universe?
Oh, the Young Avengers?
Yeah, the Young Avengers plus Captain America.
I could see that. Young Avengers or even the Secret Avengers, which technically the Secret Avengers has young characters in it too. I could see either of those because of the threads that they've laid out, the potential for younger characters to come into play, and maybe, granted, characters they haven't introduced yet, but characters that I know for a fact they, at some point in time, made plans to bring into the MCU. It's actually a documented a well documented secret now that not fan favorite character. Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. There's people who hate her, there's people who love her. But so she has a lot in common with Captain Marvel in that regard. Riri Williams, Ironheart they originally were trying to get a script made for a Riri Williams Ironheart movie. It never materialized. They have talked about Kate Bishop, who people thought Hawkeye was working with on the Arrow shooting when the first one of the first trailers came out. So there's that. There's characters like Amadeus Cho. There's the Patriot. There's oh my God, Hulkling, Wiccan. The list just goes on and on and on. There's a lot of characters they could do, and honestly, I wouldn't be opposed. Heck, I
wouldn't be surprised.
I actually would be. Honestly, if they did it, I would actually rather they make a Champions movie, because I think a Champions movie has more steam.
Ernie, I'm glad you're here, dude, because I don't know a single one. Not a one, dude.
I will also say I actually popped huge. I'm talking about just marked out in the theater when Thor dropped the line, the Asgardians of the Galaxy, because that actually is a current running comic.
Is it?
Yeah, it is a Guardians of the Galaxy style team, but nothing but Asgardian characters. It's got there's Throg, who is the frog version of Thor. It has Angela Scourge, who y'all might remember from Ragnarok, who was the
he had the AR-15.
The AR-15. But yeah, and it's just literally Sif, I think, is in there somewhere. Like there's just
Sif.
It's nothing but all the Warriors. It's basically nothing but Thor characters.
More super serious or serious and goofy?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both.
So Guardians of the Galaxy-esque.
Very, very, which I thought was awesome. But as far as like the Space Stone stuff, I'm pretty sure we'll find out in Loki's Disney Plus series.
Is he getting his own series?
Yeah, he's getting one.
That's really happening.
That is really happening. His was actually the first one announced.
Wow.
His was the first. But the thing is, I think that a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, a lot of stuff that's going to be figured out, the things that people say are, these are plot holes. No, they are going to be addressed.
Wait. Now, when you said Disney Plus, you're talking like the Netflix of Disney.
Yeah, the streaming service.
I totally forgot that was
Yeah.
$7, bro.
Dude, here's the thing. Hawkeye and Black Widow will have a series. You got the WandaVision, or Vision Wanda, however they word that. There's going to be a Bucky and Falcon series, which I now assume will be a Captain America and Winter Soldier series now, which is actually right in my alley. I was so happy about that because I've always said that they should have a buddy cop style movie or show with Falcon and Bucky, because they have ridiculous chemistry.
They do.
Sebastian Stan and God, I had his name literally in the forefront of my brain, and then
the Falcon guy.
the guy who plays Falcon, Sam Wilson. And it's gonna kill me that I don't remember his name. But anyway, they have ridiculous chemistry. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury, he has a series, and they said all these series are tied into the MCU, so it wouldn't shock me if we got that.
Yeah. So do you think, as Guardians of the Galaxy, do you think Thor is going to play a role in Volume 3?
I think so.
Dude,
I think so. I would. Yeah. Here's the thing.
Picks up right where this left off.
Dude, people complained when Thor Ragnarok came and said, it's too much like Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, guess what? Now he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. now what? Now what? What you gonna do now? Now what?
Say something.
You know what you gonna do? You gonna go watch it. That's what you gonna do.
But yeah, to the point of the question, I think that's something right up Disney's alley, because not only is it more than likely just a ridiculous amount of money in their pockets, which is the first thing they probably look at.
Dollars and cents.
But also, Disney's always had something for, the adults and the kids. And this could be that multi-billion-dollar tie-in to the kids.
I'm calling it now, man. You will see a Champions movie.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now.
Might take a while, though. I
think you could actually pull it off, because, really, at this particular point, especially if I don't know, they might have to work out a deal with Sony, because if you really want to make some money, if you want to license print money, you take the current iteration of the Champions, Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Riri Williams, Young Nova, Vision's daughter, which is just weird in and of the fact that that's a thing. Amadeus Cho, who is another version of the Hulk. You probably can't get young Cyclops. You can probably get I'm blanking on some of the other characters that are involved in this.
But you've got all these characters to pull from.
But they're all Kate Bishop. But all are characters who are spin-offs of our core MCU characters.
Yeah.
In some way. Kamala Khan less so, but I mean, yeah, she is kind of tied to Carol Danvers. But the thing is, all of them fit somehow, and you could have like, okay, well, we have the same makeup and we can do more stuff with it. It would honestly be foolish on Disney's part to not have something out there like that. You cannot ignore that market because you know kids are watching these movies. Kids, teenagers, grown ass men and women are going to go see these movies. Of course, you should maybe hit that demographic that's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? And you can make them angsty teens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. I want to get final scores from you guys. So on a scale of 1 to 10, that's how we're going to do this. Give me your score and a quick justification along with your favorite scene from the movie. Okay. So I'm going to start with Jamie, if you would, sir.
Okay. All right. So 1 out of 10. What do I think of this movie? All right. So, would I watch it over and over? I mean, sure. It's a badass movie. If it's on, I'll watch it. Would I get out of my way? I'm not so sure. I'm trying to weigh it versus Infinity War, and I almost kind of think I'd watch Infinity War again first, just because it's the prequel to
Endgame.
Endgame. So
it's the part 1.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I'd have to always watch Infinity War before I could even try Endgame again.
Right.
So going off
that refresher.
Going off replayability and a whole bunch of other factors I'm not going to go into, I'd probably give Endgame an 8.
Okay. It's a solid score. If 5 is your average movie, 8's a solid score.
That's still good.
There's a lot of other movies that could do way worse, believe me.
What was your favorite scene from the movie?
Dude, when that hammer, when Mjolnir flew right in Iron Man's hand, and he's standing there with that shield forward pose, head down, arm cocked back catch. I just thought, holy shit, that's the symbol of a goddamn hero.
Yeah. that is your Captain America.
Yeah. That is, I live for that shit.
That's America's ass.
JD.
Yeah, that's what I got.
JD, what's your score and scene?
So I'm gonna go I'm coming in a little stronger. I'm gonna give it like a 9.5, man. I thought my only 0.5 is you can only do so much with time travel.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. There's only but the fact that they handled it so well, they were able to wrap up so many timelines in only 3 hours, while also showing all of this stuff and concluding the Infinity Saga. 9.5. My favorite scene, and I might be stealing this from you. I'm sorry about him.
That's fine.
He's allowed to use the same one. Is shortly after your scene when he's standing there, shield, hammer, looking at the armies, and then you hear on your left.
Oh man!
And then the portals start opening, and then you just see fucking Wakanda and everywhere just coming in. The army's coming in, dude. Goosebumps. Done. Done. I was done.
Then it's gone.
9.5. Ernie, our man, thank you for being our resident expert here today. Blurred Without Fear, youtube.com/Blurred Without Fear. What's your score, my man?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to tell you what. I've seen this movie twice. And I think this is probably going to be justification for why I'm going to come in even hotter.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
I'm going to come in a whole 0.5 hotter because I'm going to give it a 10 because I saw it twice. And the emotion, the heart pounding, the heart racing, the tears, the laughter, just the moments that got me the first time were just as impactful even on a second viewing. Everything was just great. Yeah, I mean, you're literally talking about the culmination of like over 10 years, 11 years worth of movies coming together with all the fan service, ties to all the other movies. So many characters. Probably like you always see the joke people make about the most ambitious movie of all time. The most ambitious crossover of all time, and you always joke about how something else was better. No, this is better. This is better than all of them. This is what was it? Killmonger. He's like, this your king? No. This your crossover? That's what I'm gonna say every time somebody says that. This is your crossover? You didn't see Endgame? No. And you know what? I tell you what. I'm gonna do one better on my favorite scene. Yes, the same scene, same exact scene with it's like he's on your left, and people are coming in. Black Panther's coming out. He's got Shuri and Okoye with him. You got Doctor Strange coming out. He's got it's so good. It's so good. But here's the thing: when you bring it all the way in, everybody's like filed in together. Cap's sitting there. He just looks at the camera. The thing that he has not been allowed to say for so long, and he says it. He's like, Avengers, assemble. And everyone does it. Everybody falls in, and we get a throwback to Age of Ultron. And this is what popped me. Everybody's rushing in, and it just turns to the side, and it turns this huge splash page shot of all of the Avengers, the Guardians, Asgardians, everybody, all the people from for Kamar-Taj, everybody's filing in, and next thing you got Thanos and the Black Order on the other side, and all of his armies are just coming crashing in. I was just like,
is this heaven?
That scene right there was validation for all of the years I've been reading comics. I've never seen a comic book page recreated so masterfully. So that is my favorite scene. And I'm giving it the full-on 10 out of 10 because I know good and hell well I will see it again.
Make me want to get
Perfect 10.
I gave my point, but he just made me.
It's like, man, I might give it that extra point.
I've sold you on the half.
Endgame's your favorite movie then, huh?
Oh yeah, no. This right now, I'm saying right now, top 5, dead or alive. This is right up there at the top. This is number 1.
Wow.
This is my favorite MCU movie now. It gave me everything I wanted. It gave me the Thanos I always wanted. It gave me, not to say that Infinity War didn't, but I mean just a dangerous Thanos without the Infinity Stones.
Scary Thanos.
It gave me all. It gave me everything. It even gave me Howard the freaking Duck.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it did.
Come on, what more do you want?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
So I'll definitely echo the song. I think once in a lifetime event, potentially a once in a cinematic event of a decade's worth of movies coming together. Even if something like this is attempted again, it can never be the first time that it happens. I think this was really special, really unique. So excited that we all got to be a part of that. For me, I'm going to give the movie a 9. The movie on its own, in a vacuum, I give it a 10 in place of the whole MCU stretch. I give it a 9 just because of the time travel. For me, time travel is just a lazy plot device for me. The protagonists, have their big crisis moment. Let's just rewind time and fix that big mistake we had. For me, that knocks a point off. They did incorporate it well. It was entertaining. I just don't like it as a plot device, but too much amazing stuff happening throughout this film to really worry about it, right? You can't overthink that stuff. Sometimes it's just comics, like Ernie said. My favorite, absolutely. I'm going to copy Jamie here. Mjolnir in Captain America's hands. I'm a captain guy. I was born on the 4th of July. I identify as just the American dude. So to see just him whip ass with Mjolnir was incredibly cool.
It's beautiful.
So thanks everybody. This was a staggering review. I think everybody can agree
Yes.
of Avengers Endgame. Thank you to everybody on the panel. JD, Jamie, they're co-hosts here at Cloak and Stagger Live. You can catch them streaming at random times throughout the week, as well as a usual D&D session on Saturdays. Once again, Ernie, thank you so much. Your insight, your expertise on this, your time and attention, just really, really great. Appreciate it, man. Please check out his content. If you loved what Ernie had to contribute here, you're going to love his content on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/blurredwithoutfear. If you liked what we had to say, if you think we were full of shit, leave us a comment in the comments. If you liked it, we'd love for you to subscribe, check us out, interact with us. We want you guys to talk with us and interact. But either way, hit that subscribe button. So from here, Avengers, disassemble.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.